My wife, Jessica, 32 years old, and I, 30 years old, have been married for 2 years and are trying for a baby. Jessica has an older sister, Mary, that she isn't close to. She told me that they had a huge falling out over some family drama and just don't speak anymore. I asked a few times about the entire situation, but she would say she doesn't like talking about it and doesn't think it's important. It was Jessica's brother's birthday yesterday, and we were all over at his house to celebrate. Mary made an appearance, and there was a lot of drama. Long story short, she called Jessica and her brothers out for still associating with their dad when they know that he is a child molester. No one was paying her any mind, and I was really confused on what was going on. When Mary left and Jessica and I went home, I asked Jessica what happened. She said that when they were kids, Mary used to claim that their dad used to molest her. I asked if it's true, and Jessica was stuttering a lot. She said she knows her dad used to do bad things, but that Mary cut them all off when she turned 18 and moved out. I asked if she is admitting that she knows her dad was a child molester and did things to his own daughter. She said he doesn't do it anymore, and he was just in a really bad place in his life, and he apologized to Mary, so there's nothing else anyone can do for Mary. I was honestly appalled. I also feel so terrible for Mary. Jessica made it seem like Mary did something wrong and deserved to be basically exiled from the family. I could never have imagined that this is what happened. I asked if she expects me to now be willing to have that man around our future children, and she started shouting at me, saying I'm judging him off something that happened 2 decades ago, and whether I like it or not, he is going to be our child's grandpa, and he will be in their lives. I said if she insists on it, I think we need to hold off on having kids and have serious conversations about it. She's extremely angry at me, but I don't know how I could react better, to be honest. This feels like a huge deal that she is minimizing. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. My mother denied being touched by her stepfather her whole life and suffered depression and anxiety. Unfortunately, that denial included allowing her 3 children to be exposed to this man. He molested all 3 of us. The trauma for me didn't surface until I was 18. My sister and brother took the drugs and alcohol route to bury the trauma. I was lucky enough to join the military and never did drugs or much alcohol. Child molesters don't stop at one child, and if I had to bet, I'd say your wife was probably molested as well, but she's in denial. Good luck, OP. It's not easy navigating others' trauma. Like many have said, please don't have children with this woman. She will expose your potential children to her father, just like my mom did. Comment 2. This goes way beyond not having children with her. She displayed no empathy for her sister and is making excuses for the aggressor. She would not be a mother I would choose for my children, whether you get past this or not. And she wouldn't be my partner of choice either, honestly. I'm sorry you're only finding out now, but at least there are no kids in the picture. I rarely advocate leaving in situations without abuse, but I'd leave. Not the idiot. Comment 3, not the idiot. Someone who has glossed over child molestation, would she want to leave a future child of yours with grandpa for the night? That's chilling. And once you have kids, even if you divorced her for this later, you couldn't get full custody over this. If grandpa never went to prison for it and isn't a convicted intimacy offender. It's awful all the way around. I can't believe you've been married 2 years before you even hear this story. Now, for the update. So over the past month, things have gone from uneasy to downright nauseating. I discovered something that has made my skin crawl. My wife, Jessica, has been making frequent secretive visits to her dad's place. I confronted her about it, and she admitted that she's been seeing him regularly, saying it's important for her to maintain a relationship with him. And then she dropped this bombshell on me. Turns out she's been going to therapy with him, as in joint therapy sessions where they're trying to, God, I can barely type this, where they're trying to work through their past together. And get this, she wants me to join them for these sessions. I'm disgusted. The idea of sitting in the same room as this man makes me feel physically ill. It's clear to me now that Jessica is deep in denial about the abuse her sister suffered and her father's culpability in it. I tried to talk to her about it, tried to explain that this isn't normal, isn't healthy, but she insists that it's helping her, that it's helping him change. I've been sleeping in the guest room ever since, unable to share a bed with her. It's not just the fury I feel towards her for her blindness and stubbornness, but also a deep-seated fear. What if we do have a child? What if she allows that man around our child? The thought terrifies me. One night, after another heated argument, she accused me of being just like her sister, Mary. That I was trying to tear the family apart. That I was not letting their father heal. Needless to say, I lost it. I called Mary, explained the situation, and asked her for advice. She was understandably horrified and suggested I leave Jessica. I'm currently typing this from a motel room, my head spinning from the sheer craziness of it all. I don't know what to do. I love Jessica, but this is too much. I'm considering legal advice, not for divorce, not yet, but for what to do if things get worse. I feel like I'm trapped in some terrible nightmare. I have no idea how to get out of this or how to help Jessica see the reality of the situation. Things have gotten terribly off course, and I'm just trying to find my footing in this sickening predicament. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. You have every right to protect your future child from potential harm, especially given the history of abuse. It's understandable that you're worried about your wife's seemingly forgiving attitude towards her father. However, it's important to remember that she's also a victim in this situation. Her actions might not be coming from a place of denial, but rather from a desperate attempt to heal. That being said, it doesn't excuse the potential risk to your future child. You did the right thing by seeking advice from her sister and considering legal counsel. 2. You're the idiot. While your concerns are valid, it seems like you're making hasty decisions based on assumptions. Your wife is seeking therapy with her father, which is a step towards resolution and not necessarily denial. It's her personal journey, and she has a right to cope in her own way. Instead of leaving her in such a critical time, you should have tried to communicate and understand her perspective. Perhaps even join her therapy sessions to get a clearer picture. 3. Everyone sucks here. Your wife should have been transparent with you about her therapy sessions rather than keeping them a secret. If she's planning to allow her father into your child's life, it's a decision that should involve you too. However, you also overreacted by immediately leaving her instead of trying to work it out. It's a difficult situation, but rushing to take such drastic measures won't help anyone. It's better to seek therapy yourself and legal advice to understand your options. Now, for the next story. I have a friend who recently got married a month or so ago. I was invited to the wedding as I am her best friend. The wedding was at the courthouse. She texted me a few days before and told me to bring my camera since I am the free photographer, ha ha ha. Her words, not mine. I am not a photographer. I just happen to have a fancy camera. On the day of the wedding, my son and I come down with a nasty stomach bug. We can't even keep water down. I text her and apologize, but I won't be able to make it. She says, K. I offered to go to the park with them to take pictures the next weekend. I never heard back. Last weekend, we all went to the zoo. They invited us to go, so we happily went. They spent the whole time in a different part of the zoo. That's fine. We did our own thing. As we were about to leave, she asked me to meet her on the other side of the zoo to hang out. I said okay. We get to the other side, and she asked if I had my camera. I said no. It's packed since we are moving soon. She got annoyed, but we all walked around the zoo some more. This is my second lap at this point, and this zoo is massive. I had to take breaks because I am currently 28 weeks pregnant with severe SPD and sciatica. SPD is when the pubic bone separates too early and causes severe pain even in mild cases. I can and should walk, but it takes me a while to recover depending on how much activity I've done. She saw me almost in tears because my hips and pelvis were hurting so bad at this point. We leave and I talk to her after I get home. She called to complain about a mutual friend. I tell her that I'm in bed wrapped in heating pads. I can't even adjust my leg without a shooting pain in my hip and pelvis. The next day, she texts me asking if I would go to the pumpkin patch with them to take family pictures of them. I tell her I can't afford to take the family there at the moment. It will cost us $60 just to get into the patch. She says that I can leave my kids and husband at home. That way I'll only have to pay $15 for me. I tell her even if I was willing to leave my family out of that experience, I'm in way too much pain. I still can't walk without shooting pain in my hips. She stops responding until I offer to do the photos later in the week. She says Wednesday. I have an appointment with my high-risk OB that day, so Wednesday won't work, but any other day will. She says, whatever, and that's the last I've heard from her. I then get a call from another mutual friend asking why I'm refusing to take their wedding pictures for them after promising I would. I tried to explain my side but was met with, "You could at least try." On one hand, I'm not their personal photographer. On the other hand, I could have gone and taken a few pictures. I'm torn. Am I the idiot for not going to the pumpkin patch to take their pictures? TLDR. Friend is upset I didn't go and take their family photos because of severe hip and pelvis pain caused by my pregnancy. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. FFS, she acts like she's doing you a favor by letting you take their photos. As a friend, if she had any consideration for you, she would let you pick a day and work around your schedule. The fact that she wouldn't deign to even pay for the pumpkin patch fees speaks volumes. You shouldn't have to cough up any money to take photos for her. Does she expect you to also do post-processing on the images as well? Then she has the nerve to complain about you to other people. She's no friend. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Cancel this latest appointment. You need to be taking care of yourself and your kids, not chasing this woman's approval. She clearly doesn't give a crap about you. Learn to say no. You are literally in crippling pain, and you are still trying to accommodate her. A true friend would not dare ask you while you are such a state. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Your health and the health of your unborn child is the most important thing right now. Don't stress over it. It isn't like she paid for these photos, and her being upset is her being selfish and not caring about your health or how you are feeling. Now, for the update. A month has passed since the wedding, and things have only gone downhill. My friend and I used to talk every day, but after the wedding, her messages became more and more sporadic, eventually stopping altogether. Then, on the off chance we ran into each other in town, her greetings were curt, her conversations short, and she never made any effort to engage. Our children, who were inseparable before, were now awkward around each other, mirroring the tension between their mothers. I tried several times to mend things, to explain myself, but she brushed it off each time. I told her about the severe pain I had been experiencing, how the doctor had put me on bed rest due to complications with my pregnancy, but she showed no sympathy. Instead, she accused me of exaggerating and using my pregnancy as an excuse. My son, who used to look forward to our zoo trips, now refuses to go, fearful that we might run into her and her family again. He's been asking about her son, his best friend, and I don't know what to tell him. I can see the confusion and hurt in his eyes, and it breaks my heart. Last week, our mutual friend came to me with an envelope. It was full of professional photos from the wedding and the pumpkin patch. My friend had hired someone else and didn't even tell me. I couldn't help but flip through them, seeing her radiant smile, her family's happiness, and the pictures I knew I should have taken. It was a punch in the gut. I still can't shake off the guilt. I feel like I've failed her as a friend, even though I know I did what was best for my health and my unborn child. I can't help but mourn the loss of our friendship and the bond our children shared. I'm left feeling heartbroken and alone, and I'm not sure where to go from here. Now, for the comments. Not the idiot. You're going through a serious health issue and expecting a baby. It's perfectly normal to prioritize your health and your child over anything else. A true friend would be understanding and supportive of your situation, not accusing you of exaggerating and distancing themselves. They have the right to hire whoever they want for their wedding, but not informing you was a low blow. It's clear you value this friendship, but it doesn't seem to be reciprocated. Not the idiot. It's heartbreaking to see a close friendship crumble like this, and it's natural to feel lonely and unsure. However, the way your friend is acting is completely uncalled for. Your health and your unborn child should always come first, and anyone who makes you feel guilty for that is not worth your time. It seems like your friend has made their choice, and it's time for you to make yours. Not the idiot. You have every right to feel upset and betrayed. You've tried to mend the relationship and explained your situation, but your friend has chosen to ignore it and make your children feel uncomfortable. This is not a healthy friendship for you or your child. It's sad to lose a friend, but sometimes it's for the best. It's time to focus on your health and your family. Now, for the next story. My husband is a stay-at-home dad to our 4-year-old daughter. He is an extremely devoted and loving dad who has barely spent any time away from her, and she is a major daddy's girl. In 2 weeks, he's going to see his best friend from college for a whole week. He's going to be reuniting with his college friends that he hasn't seen or spent time with altogether since our wedding. He originally wanted the 3 of us to go, but I convinced him to just go himself because I think being alone would make him enjoy it more so he didn't have to do childcare. I think our daughter is too young for such a big trip with people she's only met once. Also, I'm planning on taking a week off work and would love to spend one-on-one time with her, which we so rarely get. This morning, I learned that I am pregnant. We have been trying for some time now and really want lots of kids, so I am over the moon, and I know my husband and daughter will be too. I have not told my husband yet. My first pregnancy, he was a huge prepper, and when I first learned I was pregnant, he went into overdrive with preparing, researching, and taking care of me. He was incredibly helpful and loving, and it was so sweet, but he also really worked himself up and got stressed. I don't think it'll be as bad with this one, but I could still see it being a lot. I honestly don't really want to tell him until after his trip, in 3 weeks, even though it's a huge secret for me to keep. I think he'll potentially be upset, which, with him, is very, very tame, when he finds out I'd known for 3 weeks, but would get over it fast. My concern with telling him is I could honestly see it ruining his trip. I can just imagine the constant texts asking me questions for the millionth time or sharing his most recent thoughts. I really, really want him to have a chill and fun trip and be able to decompress. And for myself, I want to be able to just focus on having a great time with my girl. But I also don't want to hide something so hugely important to our family from him, since he obviously deserves to know. I can't really decide would I be the jerk if I decided to wait to tell him until after his trip. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Tell him. I get that you really want him to enjoy his trip without extra worry. That's very thoughtful and loving. However, he is an adult. How would you feel if your husband kept a life-changing secret from you because he didn't trust you to be able to manage/regulate your own emotions? Would you feel disrespected? Humiliated? Like shoot was going on behind your back and you had no idea? Show your partner in life and love the respect of trusting him to manage his own emotions and behavior instead of trying to micromanage him behind his back. Don't withhold his joy. Tomorrow isn't promised. You both have been wanting and hoping for this baby for a while. How would you feel if, God forbid, something happened and you never got to tell him he's going to be a dad? Again? Yes, I think you're the idiot if you keep your pregnancy a secret from your husband. Comment 2. Not the idiot, but as others have said, don't tell anyone else unless you want the universe to conspire to have him find out from someone that isn't you. Don't tell your parents, don't tell your siblings, don't tell your in-laws, don't tell your friends. You're taking a risk telling us here. The moment you tell anyone else, the odds are 100% that they'll tell somebody else either intentionally or not, and that will continue in a chain until somebody posts it on Facebook or Twitter, and it goes on a whole big string of connected tellings until somebody on your husband's trip finds out and tells him. Comment 3. Not the idiot, and I agree with other posters having a cute way to show him when he gets back. Daughter in t-shirt or a fun announcement board at airport or when he gets home. Also agree with others. No one else can know. He has TK be the first. This includes your daughter. She will absolutely tell her daddy when he calls to talk to her while on his trip, and that would probably hurt him and affect his mood. Congrats! Now, for the update. Well, hold on to your hats, folks. It's been an absolute whirlwind these past 2 weeks. If you thought me concealing a pregnancy from my husband was the peak of chaos, you're wrong. So incredibly wrong. The day before my husband left for his trip, he got a call that one of his college buddies got hospitalized for a sudden health issue. The trip was off. He was disappointed, but told me he was glad he could be there for our daughter. Little did we know the real bombshell was yet to drop. A couple of days later, a letter arrived for him. The handwriting was unmistakably his best friend from college, the one who was supposed to be in the hospital. Confused, we opened it together, and inside was a letter and an ultrasound picture. The letter read, "I didn't know how else to tell you this. I found out I'm going to be a dad. I'm sorry for not telling you in person. I panicked and faked the health issue. I just didn't know how to face everyone." My husband was floored, but something else was brewing. I was looking at the ultrasound picture. It was dated exactly 12 weeks ago, the same day I found out I was pregnant. What are the odds, right? The following day, my husband got another call. This time it was from a different college friend. Turns out, the hospitalized friend had faked his illness to escape the trip because he was overwhelmed with the prospect of becoming a dad. On top of that, he had secretly been in touch with our other friend, seeking advice about fatherhood. The deceit was a lot to take in, but it turned out to be the perfect opportunity for me to come clean about my own secret. I told my husband about the pregnancy, and despite the initial shock, he was excited. Excited to be a dad again, excited to share this journey with his friend, and surprisingly, even excited about the dramatic way all of this unfolded. In a strange, twisted way, everything worked out. We're now looking forward to our expanding family, helping our friend navigate his own journey into parenthood and laughing at the absurdity of it all. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. It's clear that your husband's friend was overwhelmed with the news of becoming a father and didn't know how to handle it. Deceit is never the best way to handle a situation, but it seems like he was just trying to find a way to process the news. It's nice to see that your husband is supportive of both you and his friend despite the unusual circumstances. 2. Not the idiot. Your husband's friend should have been honest about his situation, as it would have saved a lot of unnecessary stress and confusion. However, it's apparent that he was struggling with the news and didn't know how to break it to his friends. The fact that you and your husband are being understanding and supportive shows your character and your capacity to empathize with his situation. 3. Not the idiot. While your husband's friend's actions were misguided, it speaks volumes about your and your husband's character that you're willing to overlook this and offer him support during this life-changing moment. Being pregnant at the same time could even bring you all closer as you navigate parenthood together. It's a unique situation, but it seems like everyone's handling it with grace and understanding. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.